on the news at 7. Normalcy returns to Ondo motor parks after clash by members of suspended NURTW. Manufacturers demand urgent solution to soaring diesel prices as businesses struggle for survival. House of Representatives investigates alleged age falsification in federal ministries. And from the foreign scene, humanitarian crisis worsens in war-torn Ukraine, with 7.1 million internally displaced in need of help. A very good evening to you. Welcome to the news at 7. I am Obi Chukwemeka Oti. Less than 2 days after the Ondo State government inaugurated a motor parks management committee led by former state NURTW Jacob Adebo, some who claim to be members of the National Union have accused the new chairman of fueling crisis within the union. Their accusation followed alleged invasion of motor parks by some hoodlums in attempted forceful takeover, which they said resulted in bodily harms of 6 of their members. Omoriola Ogbenji has details.
Following the crisis in the Ondo State branch of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, the Ondo State government suspended activities of the union. This government then went on to take over all the public motor parks in the state and set up a management committee to oversee their affairs. The inauguration of the former NURTW chairman, Jacob Adebo, popularly called Idajo in Akure, the state capital, did not go down well with some members who alleged the newly inaugurated chairman of deadly attacks at their parks.
We just saw a large group of people. Just came in with cutlass, with stick and bottles. They just entered the guys. They started marching at everybody.
Àgbàtà kò ṣàdédé rí lánàá tán kó mọ́tò tán kó àdá tán kó igi tán wọnú gáràjì wa bó ṣe wọnú gáràjì wa wọ́n kọ́kọ́ lé wa gbogbo wa sá torí pé àmọ́ ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ bó ṣe dé àwa wá sá fún wọn pé kó má sí kí wàhálà má sí gbà tó tún àwọn tún lọ reinforce ara wọn wá lẹ́lẹ́kejì so ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ń wound àwọn ọmọ wa tó ń já ọ́fíìsì.
Though normalcy has returned to the parks as captured by Osrc's camera lens, an unspecified number of people were injured, while offices were burgled and vehicles damaged. The chairman of the Motor Parks Management Committee, Jacob Adebo, has denied the allegations, saying it is a way of distracting him from performing his assigned duty.
After swearing, want to lecture pé ká lọ ṣọ̀kan o ìgbà tá a dẹ̀ máa kúrò ń bẹ̀ tá à ń jó tá à ń yọ̀ tí gbogbo ẹ̀ ń lọ táwọn èèyàn wa tán dẹ̀ ń ṣe àwọn national union wọ́n ní wọ́n gbà wọ́n ní kò sí gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì tó lọ sọ́dà park wọ́n ní national union làwọn wọ́n náà wọ́n lè kúrò ń bẹ̀ ìgbà tán dẹ̀ ń ṣe tán dẹ̀ ń sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ojúgbòrò bí lánàá ibi báyìí bàjẹ́ débi gbàrà mo ti pèrè àkọ́mẹ́ndà ṣùgbọ́n mo ti send àwọn officers sí gbogbo máa bá ń patrol gbòòrò kan jọ. Inú mi dín ní sẹ́ apá kan sọ níbi tá a lọ lé ní pé àná pé ọ̀gá wọn ń tẹ́ ìlànà pé mo dẹ̀ pé wọ́n pé kó máa bá pàtó gbé kó máa sì gbà kó máa sì dá àwọn nítorí ẹ̀tanú tó ti ní tẹ́lẹ̀ yẹn abẹ́ sì ń lu àwọn èèyàn wa.
Meanwhile, the police public relations officer, Fumilayo Odunlami, said the command has deployed personnel to all motor parks in the state capital to maintain law and order.
So far so good, the police has been in all parks within the state, just to ensure there is peace. And I want to tell the people of Ondo State to please continue with their lawful duty. Everything is calm. So far, so good, there has been no problem. Of course, our men are on ground to provide security, to ensure that even the whole passage is peaceful without any kind of breach security.
Odunlami also encouraged residents to go about their normal activities without fear. Omoriola Ogbenji, Osrc News.
The Nigeria Governors Forum (NGF) says it will meet with all 36 State House of Assembly speakers in Abuja on Friday. The purpose of the meeting is to rub minds and brainstorm towards finding urgent solutions to issues of national importance. According to a statement by the Director General of the NGF, Mr. Bayo Kauru, the emergency meeting will be chaired by the NGF Chairman and Governor of Ekiti State, Kayode Fayemi. The governors are expected to help facilitate and enable the speakers in their various states to attend the meeting. Meanwhile, the Senate has extended the implementation of the 2021 Appropriation Act from 31st March to 31st May 2022. The extension was approved following the consideration of a bill to amend the 2021 Appropriation Act. The Senate, before considering the bill, suspended Rule 78, subsection 1 of the Senate Standing Orders 2022 as amended to enable the upper chamber to expeditiously introduce and pass the bill. The bill was given accelerated first, second, and third reading and subsequently passed. In the meantime, the House of Representatives Committee on Public Petitions has begun investigation into alleged age falsification and service elongation by some top officials in the federal ministries, departments, and agencies. The committee says it has written to the chairman, Federal Civil Service Commission, Tuko Ngawa, and head of the Civil Service of the Federation, Dr. Folashade Yemieson, to demand records of the permanent secretaries, directors, and other officials mentioned in the petition. The probe is based on a petition filed by a civil society organization, Anti-Corruption and Integrity Forum, and addressed to the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, which was read on the floor of the House. To other stories now, with no end in sight to the current astronomical hike in the price of automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, manufacturers and economic watchers have forecast a looming spike in unemployment rate in Nigeria. The attendant implication is also projected to increase the level of insecurity and saturation of markets with substandard products, which would negatively affect the value of money for products and services rendered. For all of these negatives not to take effect on the current economy, experts charge government to take urgent action to end the quagmire. Ahead of next year's general election, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has warned political parties in the country against violation of electoral timelines as well as provisions of the new Electoral Act 2022 as amended, noting that it had released the timetable and schedule of activities for the 2023 general election. The electoral umpire said it will stick to the timelines and also monitor political parties' primaries. INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman of Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, in a statement said the timetable provides detailed activities, including the conduct of primaries, the nomination of candidates by political parties, and other activities leading to the presidential and National Assembly elections slated for February next year, and governorship and state assembly elections in March. INEC noted that 2 out of the 14 activities in the timetable and schedule of activities have been successfully accomplished. The body added that candidates for the 1,491 constituencies for which elections will be conducted in 2023 must emerge from democratic, transparent, and valid primaries, in line with the provisions of Sections 29 and 84 of the Electoral Act 2022. We now return to the story on the hike in prices of diesel. With no end in sight to the current astronomical hike in the price of automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel, manufacturers and economic watchers have forecast a looming spike in unemployment rate in Nigeria. The attendant implication is also projected to increase the level of insecurity and saturation of markets with substandard products, which would negatively affect the value of money for products and services rendered. For all of these negatives not to take effect on the current economy, experts charge government to take urgent action to end the quagmire. Zaid Aribisala has more on the report.
Virtually every facet of Nigeria's economy is directly or indirectly tied to the use of automotive gas oil, popularly called diesel. Insufficient power generation and supply makes it a no-brainer for businesses, particularly those with high electricity demand, to resort to diesel-powered generators. Manufacturers of consumable and non-consumable items, as well as service providers ranging from banks, hospitals, hotels, and media stations rely almost solely on these means of power supply. But the situation has not been palatable at this time, as price of diesel, which closed the year 2021 at under 300 naira per litre, is currently sold between 700 naira to 800 naira per litre. For instance, a media outfit that runs a television and radio station for 18 hours in a day at the rate of 50 litres per hour all days of the week will have to expend over 18 million naira per week due to the hike. The managing director of a cable manufacturing company in Akure and chairman Akure Chamber of Commerce, Mines and Industry, ASIMA, Emmanuel Adewumi, noted that the situation poses grave danger to the economy as businesses now have to decide between minimal profit and reduction in production hour.
Industries like hotels or that is like that, they don't have regular power supply. And when they fire their diesel, you know what it's going to be. And if they transfer this cost of diesel to the customers will run away. You don't put your customers in the dark in the hotel. You must continuously fire your diesel. So also come into industries. We can you see what the effect is, just unimaginable, very terrible one. And for company that does not want to cheat the customer, you just have to be very, very careful with what is happening.
For another business owner in the housing sector, the current hike has altered production of blocks in his factory with an attendant increase in the price of sand and granite.
There was a contract given to us when diesel was at 320 naira per litre, and today diesel pump price is 870 naira. We can't continue it because the customer is not ready to do variation, and we cannot continue to run the production on that high price.
For economic watchers like Lawrence Adubiaru, the implication, among other things, may likely lead to a surge in job loss and invariably posing increased security threats.
Definitely, their sales will go down, and I won't be surprised if the situation continues that many of the companies may not be able to cope with their human resources. And simply put, it will lead to rationalization of employees, which will now worsen the already worsening situation, because it will create more security problem, more than what we are in now.
Telecommunication providers in Nigeria have said the rising cost of diesel has impacted negatively on their operational cost and that they are set to approach the federal government for special interventions, just as Manufacturers Association of Nigeria have demanded quick solution to the issue. But how soon the intervention will arrive, Nigerians can only hope. Sahid Aribisala, Osrc News.
You are watching the news at 7 on Osrc television. Join us again after this break. Thank you so much for rejoining us. You can watch us live on our website, www.osrc.ng, and follow us on our Facebook page, OSRC TV Ondo, and on YouTube you can subscribe to our channel, OSRC TV Ondo. The Osrc Media Group has received with heavy heart the untimely death of one of its staff member, Mrs. Olubumi Adewale Oluwatero, which sad event took place yesterday during a protracted illness. In a statement, the chairman and chief executive of the media group, Mr. Kunle Adebayo, described the late Bumi Oluwatero as an illustrious worker, saying her death is an irreparable loss to the media organization. Mr. Adebayo praised her sense of loyalty, diligence and dedication to duty, affirming that she was a gifted broadcaster, content producer and manager. According to him, the organization had hoped for her full recovery, but was confronted by the sad reality of her transition. The Osrc Media Group's chairman expressed consolation in the legacies of good works the late Bumi Oluwatero is known for and condoled with the family of the departed, especially the husband and children, praying that God Almighty will grant them the fortitude to bear the grief. And we say, may her soul rest in peace. The claims and counterclaims that have ensued on last week's attack on Kaduna-bound train has continued to puncture the sincerity of government to the protection of lives and of Nigerians. The Kaduna State Governor, Nasser El-Rufai, claimed that security agencies ignored the intelligence report that could have averted the attack, while the Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amechi, blamed the situation on the rejection of his proposed security surveillance system. In this report, Richard Ilisami examines the instrument. We'll bring you that report in the course of the bulletin. Meanwhile, in Kaduna State, about 11 soldiers are feared to have been killed in a fierce fire exchange with terrorists who allegedly invaded a military base in Birnin Wari local government area. Although the military authorities are yet to confirm the incident, it was gathered that several other soldiers allegedly sustained injuries, while the military also recorded equipment casualty. Eyewitnesses said the incident occurred at around 6 in the evening when terrorists in large numbers reportedly overwhelmed the troops at the Army Forward Operational Base Alpower area in Birnin Wari local government area. The incident is coming barely a week after terrorists ambushed a Kaduna-bound train and opened fire and trapped passengers, killing at least 8 of them. No fewer than 32 million Nigerians have taken the Oxford AstraZeneca, Moderna, Pfizer, as well as Johnson & Johnson brands of the COVID-19 vaccine as of April 3. The figure comprises those who have taken the first and second doses, as well as the booster shots of these vaccines. The National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, NPHCDA, while giving an update on the vaccination exercise in the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory FCT Abuja, stated that across the country, 19,357,049 of total eligible persons targeted for vaccination have been partially vaccinated, while 12,831,601 have fully taken the jabs. Rating how well the exercise has done in the states, the agency said Nasarawa State performed best, having administered vaccines to more than half of the targeted population. Meanwhile, the NPHCDA has advised those who have taken their first vaccine dose to proceed to their respective vaccination sites for the second jab. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has warned Nigerians against dealing with illegal and unlicensed financial operators to avoid being defrauded. The Apex Bank, in a statement, said the increase in the activities of illegal financial operators, FIOs, is becoming worrisome and portends a grave risk to public confidence and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The statement by the Secretary Financial Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, RCC, of the CBN, advised members of the public to visit its official website and that of the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as other relevant member agencies of the FSRCC, to verify the registration and license status of such companies and schemes before investing in them. The statement also advised Nigerians to report any individual or entities suspected to be involved in such nefarious activities to law enforcement agencies. I'll return to that story on the Kaduna attack. And in this report, Richard Ilesomi examines the incident, which has raised critical questions as Nigerians continue to grapple with insecurity in the nation.
Nigeria is still very much drenched in the grief of the Kaduna-bound train attacked by some suspected bandits, which left about 8 Nigerians dead and others critically injured. So at the time of filing this report, the Nigeria Railway Corporation says 162 passengers are yet to be accounted for, suggesting that the victims might have been taken away by the attackers. But beyond the incident, which still leaves a sore taste in the mouth of Nigerians, what is bothersome is the claim by the Minister of Transport, Rotimi Amechi, that his proposal for the installation of security surveillance system on the rail lines was frustrated by his colleagues.
No matter the cost, you can't equate it to the 7-8 lives that are lost. The equipments were just 3 billion naira. We're about to also place one order for the one in Lagos. But
Amechi is not alone in this. The Kaduna State Governor, Nazil El-Rufai, on his part, tied the incident to the reactionary approach of security agents who he claimed had enough intelligence reports that could have prevented the attackers.
We know where these people are. Why are we waiting for them to attack and then we respond? Why can't we go after them? We are in a state of war.
The attack had taken place and lives have been lost, but what the incident appears to have done is to cast doubt on the sincerity of government to protecting Nigerians in fulfillment of its fundamental responsibility. Investigation shows that the minister's proposal for the installation of security equipment across rail line was turned down for violating the rules of bidding, and Nigerians are asking why such proposal was not presented again.
And when we are bringing things that will affect the life of the people, we should be sincere enough to present something meaningful that even when they dare to reject it, you can come out to tell the masses, this is what I have proposed, and this is how they rejected it. Then now have it presented it. Look at the company they mentioned. It is not about rejecting it. It is not about them accepting it, but about the people. Now, what are the alternatives they are suggesting? Can't they come out?
The Public Procurement Act 2007 requires competitive public bidding for projects and contracts, thus raising concerns of Nigerians on the reported insistence of the minister for the award of the project to a particular firm.
It could be maybe the amount quoted for it was too high, maybe too low, or they may be asking for more people to bid for more proposals that is better, more implementable than the one you have brought. They will have their reasons for rejecting it. What I'm saying is this: Nigerians are tired of reasons why things don't work.
The claim of the minister and that of the Kaduna State Governor, according to respondents, is to cover up for the ineptitude of government, which they say is shying away in its responsibility of protecting citizens, as explained by retired Deputy Superintendent of Police, Eze Harrison and others.
So what he is talking about, that there were intelligence reports that nothing was done. Who are those that should do something? Is he not a governor of the state? Does he not have security information that he is controlling his state? Where is the Isma police that he uses to attack so many communities?
And it's so unfortunate that we've allowed this to degenerate to the level of wanton destruction of human lives. It's so unfortunate. It's disheartening. And that means it's still to call back to the issue that they have to resolve and give Nigeria a true identity of good governance.
The primary responsibility of government is the protection of lives and properties. The citizens must put governments at all levels on their toes and see security as a task that demands collective responsibility. Richard Ilesomi, Osrc News.
Now moving on to the foreign scene. More than 7.1 million are estimated to have been internally displaced by Russia's war in Ukraine, having fled their homes but remained in the country The UN's International Organization for Migration said the figure is up from 6.48 million internally displaced persons estimated in a first study by the IOM on March 16. The UN says humanitarian corridors are urgently needed to allow the safe evacuation of civilians and ensure the safe transportation and delivery of much-needed humanitarian aid in order to rapidly assist those internally displaced. Landmark UN report on climate change says there must be rapid, deep and immediate cut on carbon dioxide emissions to prevent climate catastrophe. The report was prepared by the Intergovernment Panel on Climate Change, which says the Earth is on track to exceed an average global temperature rise of 1.5 Celsius this century. The panel says greenhouse gas emissions need to be reduced by 43% and midterm by rather third by 2030. And to achieve that, countries will have to rely less on fossil fuels. Now
the jury
to sports.
has reached the report of the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change is a litany of broken climate promises. It is a file of shame, cataloguing the empty pledges that put us firmly on track towards an unlivable world. We are on a fast track to climate disaster.
Now to sports. Ex-Nigeria international footballer Kayode Emmanuel has emerged president of Ondo State All-Stars. Emmanuel, a member of 1995 Nigeria Under-20 team, and 5 other executive members of the All-Stars, emerged unopposed in an election conducted at Ondo State Sports Complex, Akure. The newly elected president, Kayode Emmanuel, promised to effect a positive change that will bring rapid progress to the association and football development in Ondo State. Emmanuel added that he would work with other executives to bring all the ex-players that had left the association back to the fold, adding that he will carry all the members along in the scheme of things. To round up the news at 7, here again are the major stories. Normalcy has returned to Ondo Motor Parks after clash by members of suspended NURTW allegedly left 6 people injured. We also told you that following persistent soaring price of diesel, manufacturers have called for urgent steps to arrest the trend to save businesses from collapse. The House of Representatives has begun investigation into the alleged aid falsification in federal ministries. And from the foreign scene, humanitarian crisis has worsened in war-torn Ukraine, with over 7 million internally displaced persons who are now in dire need of help. And that's it on the news at 7. Thank you so much for watching. Good evening.